Putin summit with Trump. So President Trump's angry. That was not a pleasant ride home from Anchorage to Washington, D.C. They landed at 3 in the morning. And when President Trump is angry, people stay away. Okay? Same thing with me. So I know how that is. He's angry because Putin's leading him along. And he went out of his way, as everybody knows, to be respectful to this evil dictator. A lot of people object to that. But of course, as I wrote in my column on Sunday, and my message of the day today, there's no other way to deal with Putin. You can't threaten him. He's got nukes. All right? You can't diminish him, because then he'll just dig in and you'll never get a deal. So the president rolls out the red carpet and the flyover and the car and all of this. And of course, the anti-Trumpers who don't care about their country at all or the world, they use that as a criticism. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But Trump really thought he was going to walk away with something concrete like a ceasefire for 30 days so they could work out details of a peace agreement in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. And it didn't happen. And it wasn't even close to happening. So Trump believes that Putin is now, disingenuous. And I think, to be fair, that President Trump overestimated his ability to bring this madman in. And the key to it is, as you'll read in my book, Confronting Evil, which is coming out in, 2 weeks now? Putin likes to kill people. He enjoys it. And I'll prove it. And it's tough dealing with somebody like that. And Trump was fairly successful the first 4 years using the same techniques. Flattery, respect, whatever. And it worked then. But now Putin's even further into his psychopathic cycle. Okay. So today, there was a meeting in D.C., and we're still awaiting the micro details. I'll have it for you tomorrow. Zelensky showed up, and that was the right call. Got to get Zelensky in here. And then a bunch of European leaders, the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, British PM Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Finnish President Alexander Stubb. So they're all at the White House. And what is their collective take? It's interesting because it's not what you think. They're hemorrhaging money over there. All of these countries, all the NATO countries, they got to pay for this Ukrainian thing. We paid more than $200 billion, the USA. But we have the money. They don't have it. So they're really, really trying to get some kind of leverage. Putin knows that. Now, Putin's running out of money, too, interestingly enough. So tomorrow on the No Spin News, I'll have a little bit more specificity on this. Changes. I mean, Zelensky goes in and goes, oh, we're not going to make any deal that's going to change our borders. Yeah, you will. Okay? You'll have to. Unfortunately, it's not fair. It's not right. But you're going to have to give up some territory. And in return, you'll get security guarantees, which is going to be good for the Ukrainian people. But there's a lot of huffing and puffing going on over here. I will be on News Nation tonight at 9 p.m. with Leland Vittert. I may have updated specific information by that time. Okay, but I don't have it now. We're taping this in late afternoon. Okay, so ahead of the meeting in Washington, Trump puts out a social post. Quote, President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Remember how it started. No getting back Obama given Crimea 12 years ago without a shot fired, and no going into NATO by Ukraine. Some things never change. So, yeah, the NATO thing is the easiest. Ukraine does not have to join NATO. And that, Putin is using that It's a straw card. Remember, NATO is no threat to Russia. None. NATO's never going to invade Russia. European countries is the last thing they want. Okay? Putin just NATO, they're going to come after us. Oh, come on. You know? It's just an excuse. But you take the excuse off the table by saying, okay, you know, Ukraine's not going into NATO. And Crimea is gone. It's gone. Not coming back unless you roll NATO tanks into it, and that starts World War III. Again, the column that I wrote on over the weekend is called Dancing with the Devil, what should happen now. So Trump's got to get tough with Putin, but here's the essential point. Trump does not have to get tough with Putin in public. He doesn't, because that works against him. He's got to tell Putin privately, look, Vad, this is what's going to happen to you. Now, I'm not going to make an announcement, so it's mano a mano, a cage match between you and me. That doesn't get us anywhere. But you continue killing innocent people, and we're going to bankrupt your country. And you. And you're not going to be able to pay your generals millions of dollars to protect you, which is what it's Putin. Putin's power is based on the fact that he pays his army an extraordinary amount of money to protect it. Okay, those payments go down. The oligarchs that support Putin, they're already going to get hammered. Putin's they'll throw him out. It's not like Putin is one of these guys they love. They don't. So anyway, but to do it publicly is not the way to go. And that's a memo. The press coverage is pitiful. And look, I compete against all these people. I'm upfront about it. We're 10 times better than they are every day. If you're watching them, you're wasting your time. They just don't report the truth. They're all ideologically infected. They're not interested in giving you what's really happening. Not only on Trump and Putin, but on anything. It's all spin. That's why this program is the No Spin News. All right, I'm going to run it down. MSNBC got booted today from NBC. You might have known that. They're changing their name. Yeah. I mean, what's the point? Everybody knows what it is. One of their people is Nicole Wallace. She used to be a communications person for Bush the Younger in his first term. Sold out for money. Makes about $1 million over there. But now she works for a different company because NBC booted them. Here's what she said. Go.
This was, for Trump, a television production that may have been rooted in different motives, but one of them was likely to change the topic of news coverage. It succeeded in that. We've all been covering this all day, for better or for worse. But clearly, Trump was not in control of anything. I mean, Putin was the alpha all day long, from Trump holding on his plane and waiting for him like a, middle schooler waiting for their first date.
Yeah, so Trump should have split, right? Go down to Juneau, maybe had a couple of cocktails. I mean, really, talk about fifth grade. It's just ridiculous. Trump organized a summit with Putin to try to end the Ukraine war to distract from another story. I mean, come on. This is just, you're sitting there and you go, I've never seen stupidity like this on national television in my life. I've been doing this 50 years. I've never seen stupidity like this. All right, the second one is Ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul. He was Obama's guy over there in Moscow. Hates Trump. Roll the tape.
So Ukraine is actually worse off under President Trump, and this myth that he keeps going back to, and Putin did him the courtesy of underscoring the myth that there would be no war and everything's better under President Trump. The facts on the ground are exactly the opposite.
And this guy just isn't telling the truth, okay? So he says that Ukraine is actually worse off under President Trump. Trump was president 4 years, 16 to 20. Putin didn't invade Ukraine. So you're telling me now, Mr. Ambassador, that now that Putin has invaded under Biden, okay, that they're better off than they were under Trump when there was no invasion? That's what your point is? Come on. Again, this is stupidity. Absolute rank stupidity. And these people don't care because they're getting paid. Next soundbite. Farhid Zakaria, CNN. Go.
Look, the atmospherics of the entire summit was somewhat cringeworthy. The fact that Putin was being welcomed on American soil, the fact that Trump gave him literally a red carpet treatment, the kind he has rarely given to any, Democratic ally of the United States.
So what? You nitwit, you don't have anything. You're like Bolton. You got nothing. So what? He comes to the United States, Putin. If they had a deal, wouldn't that have been fantastic? Does it matter where they are? Jeez. And finally, one of the strangest things I have ever seen. Mark Halpern, he's a journalist. He does a lot of internet stuff. He was on, he's been all over the place, this guy. Here's what he says. Go.
I think they're going to arrest him. I think that's the whole thing is to trick him to come into the U.S. and going to arrest him. He's a war criminal.
I mean, really. He says before Putin shows up that U.S. authorities are going to arrest him. All right. Have I made my point? I think I have. Joining us now from Boston is a visiting professor at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, one of the top schools in the country, Tufts University. Mikhail Troitsky, I think I have it right. Doctor, you were kind enough to join us a few weeks ago, and we really appreciate you coming back. So my analysis, where am I going wrong here?
Well, clearly, President Trump is trying a different approach to the resolution of the Russia-Ukraine war. So apparently, 3 years of this war before Donald Trump took office showed that there's no way under the circumstances to, force justice upon Russia in the way that Russia has to be held accountable for its invasion and the atrocities and so forth. So Donald Trump is trying a different approach. He's trying to convince the sides, including Russia, to end the war while keeping the stick in his hand as well. He did hint about the possibility.
Did you object to the red carpet and Putin coming to Alaska? Did you have any problem with any of that?
Well, I mean, it depends on your optics.
No, I want you. So you know both countries. You know Putin. You know you're one of the top experts here. When you watch that exposition,
aggressors do not get red carpet treatment, but in a situation when the decision was made and it is supported by virtually everyone, including Ukraine and Europe and others, including, I guess, China, India, that there needs to be a negotiation, then you have to give the parties in that negotiation some kind of treatment to just make sure that there's nothing, personal that can prevent.
So you didn't object to the exposition. You understood why it was happening. Now, Trump clearly was disappointed in the outcome. He wanted to get something. And I understand that he was assured he would. And then, of course, evil Vlad didn't live up to what was suggested in advance. You're not surprised by that, are you?
No, I'm not. Of course, Putin was supposed to be evasive. And that's what Donald Trump, I think, got out of him in Alaska.
Well, Putin's words means nothing. And that's why Trump's angry, because he believes that Putin is manipulating him. But now he's got to find a seam. And the only seam that I can think, and you read my column, Dancing with the Devil, is harsh, really harsh economic measures against Moscow. I don't see any other way to force Putin to stop the madness. Do you? Is there another way to do it?
No, I think, speaking softly is clearly one sort of part of reaching a deal, but yeah, the stick is there as well. So, and I believe there are ways to kind of put additional pressure on the Kremlin, short of having a showdown, a trade showdown with China or India over buying Russian oil. And I think the Trump administration has been doing some of that, at least in the run-up to this, to today's meetings in the White House. So yeah, pressure needs to be maintained, and I think Donald Trump does indicate that he wants a resolution soon. He wants a decision.
Yeah, he's going to have to.
He's going.
But I don't think it should be made public. You don't have to do all this stuff in public. You can do it behind the scenes. A lot of this stuff. I understand that Putin's running out of money to fund his war machine. Is that what you're hearing?
Yeah, I of course. I mean, even if you don't look at the figures, and of course, statistics coming out of Russia is certainly
Fictional.
completely skewed these days, and you cannot know what to believe and what not. But running a war, waging a war like that for 3.5 years is unbelievably expensive. I mean, you can just refer to the cost of the wars the United States was waging in the past. This is very expensive, and in Russia, what the Kremlin wants, what Putin wants, is to keep the semblance of normalcy for everyone else, for those who are not involved in the fighting and those who do not want to make money on volunteering to fight. And that puts additional pressure on Russian state coffers. So for sure, you cannot go on like that for forever. You'll destabilize your economy. And I guess the Kremlin has finally come to terms to that, and they did loosen up some of their conditions to end the war, which made the Alaska meeting possible and today's engagement also.
All right, Professor, we really appreciate it. Keep an eye on it, and thanks for your time tonight. Ambassador John Bolton, if you follow my broadcasts at all, that I don't have any regard for him. I think he's a Trump hater. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal today. Again, it's the same old stuff. He's got no solution, Bolton. His solution is keep funding Ukraine, and they'll defeat Russia on the battlefield, which is impossible. All right? It's not ever going to happen. But Bolton just spits this stuff out, and the Wall Street Journal puts him on the op-ed page. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, I called Bolton out on News Nation, and then Leland Vittert interviewed the ambassador himself. Roll the tape.
Is Bill O'Reilly on to something that you have it out for Donald Trump?
Look, I do my best, and I'm sure I fail, to talk about the merits of the policies and to say what I think is right with them and what I think is wrong with them. I'm not going to debate Bill O'Reilly. I'm not going to get down in the gutter with him.
What gutter are you talking about? I didn't attack you personally. I just said the truth. You have no solution. None. You do what Biden did. Okay? Pump trillions of dollars, because that's what it would be. We're into it for more than $200 billion now. USA alone. You combine all NATO, you pump trillions of dollars into Ukraine. Nobody watching the money. Okay? And you think that they're going to defeat Russia when the Russian army is 4 times the size of the Ukrainian army? This is just ridiculous. But this guy is all over the place, and the only reason he's doing it is because he hates Trump. He wants to diminish Trump. But he doesn't want to debate me because there's some kind of gutter thing. And I can run out 30 sound bites, at least, of Ambassador Bolton smashing Trump. One after the other, not all on Ukraine, just on everything.